Does your student struggle to effectively use study time? Do they sit down to work on an assignment but get overwhelmed by everything that has to get done? When they do sit down to start a task, are they constantly pulled in different directions and struggle to finish the specific assignment? Is your student a big fan of tomatoes? Well, then I have a method for you. The Pomodoro Method is a simple but effective strategy to help you stay focused. Developed in the 1980s and themed around the tomato shaped kitchen timers of the time, the strategy of the Pomodoro Method is simple. Step 1, write out your goals. Step 2, pick a task and set a 25-minute timer. Step 3, work towards your goals until the timer rings. This is called a Pomodoro. Step 4, take a 5-minute break. Step 5, repeat. And then step 6, every 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break. Let's dive into each step. Step 1, write out your goals. The Pomodoro method is applicable for all types of work. So in this stage, just take some time, 5 minutes or less, to brain up everything you would like to accomplish in this session. During this phase, you'll want to break down bigger tasks into smaller ones. Some people like to break everything down into concrete steps, and some people like larger objectives. It really just depends on people's preference and love or fear of checkboxes. Do whatever makes you comfortable. Step 2, pick a task and set a 25-minute timer. Which task you pick will again depend on your preferences. Some people like to get the hardest task out of the way first, while others prefer to warm up. There are no right or wrong answers here. If you have a list of tasks that will take less than 25 minutes to complete, group them into one Pomodoro. If you finish early in your Pomodoro, move on to the next task, or you can use this time to do a deep dive into the task you just completed. The timer you pick is also important. I find myself most productive when I use a physical timer and not the timer on my phone. I especially recommend visual timers. This way, you can get a sense of what time is remaining without having to read numbers. If you're going to use your phone, I would recommend using an app specifically set up for Pomodoro Method. That way, you'll be less likely to get pulled into other applications and ruin your break. Step 3, work towards your goal until the timer rings. This can feel like the hard part, but it's only 25 minutes. You can do it. During this time, you should be free of distractions. You are only working on this one task, so put the phone away, snooze your inbox, and just work on your goal. Remember, sustained focus can be difficult, so don't beat yourself up if you get distracted. Just notice that it happened and return to your task. Step 4, take a 5-minute break. You did it, and now you get your reward. Set your timer to 5 minutes and dive into something that recharges you or brings you joy. My favorite breaks include enjoying a cup of coffee, a brisk walk up and down the hallway, a dance break, and petting my dog. If possible, I would avoid your phone here. Yes, scrolling can feel relaxing in the moment, but it might be stealing your dopamine. We need that. Step 5, repeat. When your break timer goes off, it's time to get back to work. But remember, it's only 25 minutes. You've got this. Step 6, every 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break. If after 4 Pomodoros there is still more work to do, take a longer break to rest and recharge. I recommend 25 to 30 minutes here. And that's it. That's the Pomodoro method. Now let's talk about some Pomodoro pro tips. Our first tip is to plan ahead. If it's not too intimidating or difficult, it can be helpful to plan how many Pomodoros you will complete. That way, you can check them off as you go. Perhaps you could even have a fun tomato-themed meta checklist. Can you tell that I love checkboxes? The next pro tip is to observe and record. Integrating a new technique is a learning process. As you give this a try, it's important to observe your thoughts and feelings. Was it difficult to focus for the 25 minutes? Maybe you're a 15-minute Pomodoro person. Did you accidentally let yourself get sucked into an app and go way over your break time? That's totally understandable. Write it down so that you can remember to not use that app during your 5-minute breaks. You may also learn a few things about yourself as you start to integrate this technique. For example, I'm constantly optimistic about what I'll be able to accomplish in 25 minutes, but by writing down what I actually accomplished, I've been able to improve my estimation skills. Remember, the goal of this method is to support you. Don't be afraid to make adjustments. Pro tip 3 is to communicate. If you let those around you know that you're planning to stay focused for this concrete amount of time, they're way less likely to interrupt you. 25 minutes is a pretty good sweet spot where most things can wait until your break. This is especially helpful for students and their families. No student wants to be asked, "Why are you out here? Shouldn't you be studying?" By setting up a clear schedule and strategy, parents can feel confident students are getting work done, and students can feel empowered to take those breaks. My final tip is to remain flexible. Unavoidable distractions are bound to come up. If that does happen, no worries. Take your break, then refocus for your next Pomodoro when you're able. I like to write down these types of distractions so I can look for patterns and set myself up for success in future Pomodoros. Well, that's all for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to the Pomodoro Method. Remember, not all heroes wear capes. Some just use tomato-shaped timers. Enjoy, team.